show must go on. I'm Patrick Levalder, the chairman of the Standard and Qualification Committee of EFPA Europe. Really proud to welcome you today for the result of the think tank we did this year with the support of Martin Sirusek, who will present the different conclusions reached by the different working group, and also Paul Ryan, who is unfortunately not here today, retained for by other constraints. Today we will talk about artificial intelligence, subject really actual, I would say, really topical, bringing fear, challenges, but also new opportunities. 3 different working groups will come back on the different fields of this theme. And this is why we are here today, to talk about this different conclusion. Martin, I let you the floor just to introduce the different working group. Thank you very much.
So thanks, Patrick, for the introduction. As Patrick said, I'm Martin Sirusek, the member of the EFPA SQC from Czech Republic, and hope that you enjoy the lunch and hope that you don't fall asleep with this boring topic. Today mornings, Emmanuel, but also Mariola spoke about some key challenges, about some gaps what are in Europe or in the financial advisory business. And one of the key challenge is using some artificial instruments or artificial intelligence tools and so on. And that was the reason why we, this year, every 2 years, the EFPA Europe do the think tank. So that's the reason why the think tank for this year is focused on the AI and the AI tools in the financial advisory business. And when we start thinking about the big topic, maybe the AI is too big to fail, the topic, with Paul Ryan from Ireland, and as Patrick said, he can't be here today. We create the 3 subtopics or sub-themes and 3 subgroups. Each group has 1 leader. It was the first group, the Vanessa's group, would focus on the ethical issue, on the legal acts, and this topic gives to the AI some general framework or theoretical framework, like introduction into the AI problematic. The second group, the Marketa's group, would focus on the best practice with using of AI. And the last one, the closing group, was Thomas' group, would focus on the future outlook and also some potential threats. What can AI has? It doesn't matter if we speak about Vanessa's, Marketa's, or Thomas' group. I would like to thank all of the think tank members. Each group has around 5, 6, 7 members. It doesn't matter if it's Letizia, Ileana, Arthur, Thomas, and other Jan, and so on, and other members. So please, one big short applause for all of these co-workers who work together to solve these. Who work together and solve these topics and their point of view on this problematic. But before we start, please give me 3, 4, 5 minutes. I try to be very, very fast, just to introduce you the result of European survey, what was focused on using of AI and what was distributed to the member countries. So, sorry. From the statistical point of view, it's not statistically relevant, but we are not academicians. You are guys from practice. So we get more than 700 responses, most of them from Poland, from Austria, and also from Czech Republic, and the most of one answered was from Italy. Just at the beginning, oh, sorry. One step back. Just at the beginning, very interesting score, NPS score, where these pictures show us that the advisors, because the target group of the survey was, first of all, the independent advisors and bankers, that they are not comfortable with using some AI tools. So they are feeling worse than neutral. And this result corresponds with the other one, what show us that the people, the advisors or the respondents, they are feeling like beginners by using any AI tools. It is maybe due to that most of 70% of the respondents, they use some of the AI tool very, very low. The most of them use really some AI tool 1 time per 5 times during the week. And the half, more than 50% of these guys who used some AI tools used the free version of the Chat GPT. So that's maybe the reason why really there is some stress or fear from using the AI tools. On the other hand, if someone use some AI tool, and it doesn't matter if it's Gemini or this Chat GPT, is that the biggest advantage is that the AI save the time to the advisor. They use the AI, first of all, for some creation and generation, some text for the email communication, newsletters, and so on. And also, it is a good tool for, for using, for analyzing some data and the data mining. Because according that, if you use some AI instrument and then this instrument provide you the analysis of the data, then the providers and advisor can prepare some financial plan. On the other hand, the threats, what the advisors and bankers see by using the AI tools is that the clients, the people will be very dependent on the AI. And first of all, that the young generation, the Gen Z, will use it. And not you like a human advisor. The question is why? What do you think? Why the young generation of clients will use more and more the artificial intelligence? It's convenient, it's easy. Please give me some advice. I would like to invest €100 each month. But on the other hand, maybe 60, 70, 80% of the clients will receive the same recommendation. And that's the big issue, because, and also in the second panel, William mentioned it, is the transparency. It's a black box. We don't know how these instruments and artificial vehicles, how they works, and according what they make some final decision. Because from my point of view, the financial advisory business, it's a human business. You have to know your client. You have to know his goal, his statement, and so on. So that's the reason why, according to the results of the survey, you can use the AI tool, but the last confirmation is on the advisory, on the human factor. He have to be okay with the recommendation what the AI prepare to the client. And what about the future outlook from the point of view of the survey? It is a good instrument what can save the time, but on the other hand, it is a good instrument in the hand of the advisor. Because if the AI tool use really just only the client separately, it is not an artificial intelligence advisor. It is some artificial seller, because the AI don't know the situation of the client, and so it only recommends some investment product, saving product for a retirement age, and so on. But if there is the verification from the point of view of the advisor, it could work. And if the AI save to the advisor some time, then the advisor could provide and build a deeper relationship with the client. So there is a big issue and opportunity to cultivating really the relationship. And if the client would like to meet some robo and artificial advisor, or you like a human. So that is from my side the most important result. Really, just a short presentation, because the most important part at this afternoon section is to introduce you the results of each think tank group. And first group, let me introduce Vanessa, who was the leader of the first group. Vanessa, please take a seat. Take a seat. I would also to ask that Marcus, if you can come on. And Marcus, don't be shy. The presentation will be in English. And from the last third group, I would like to ask Thomas, Arthur, and Pavel, come on guys, to present your results. Okay, it's up to you, Vanessa.
Do I have a clicker?
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, is this one?
Yes.
Yes, thank you. Hi everyone, I'm Vanessa Ripoloni. I'm head of research at the Chartered Insurance Institute, and I was the lead of the ethics and regulatory discussion that we've been doing for EFPA. I've got quite a few slides. I'm going to be focusing on those aspects that are more important because I'm conscious of time. But just to start with, I just wanted to give a bit of background on what the research framework of our group was focusing on. We had 4 questions that we answered. The first one was around the ethical implications of using AI to inform financial decisions. Question number 2 around security and confidentiality. Question number 3 around the key challenges from a regulatory point of view. And question 4, what mitigation strategies can be put in place. I don't have a background in financial planning. I'm not an expert in AI. I am really just channeling the insights that we got from 19 expert stakeholder interviews spanning practitioners and academics, AI experts and ethicists from different countries that represented the members of the group: Ireland, Italy, Luxembourg, Spain, Stockholm, and the UK. So really rich insight that we gathered. But before I start talking about the ethics and the regulation, I just wanted to provide a bit of context in terms of what are we talking about when we talk about AI in financial advice. And to do that, we've got this classification, 4x4 classification that looks at narrow, general purpose, predictive, and generative. And just to provide a bit of a definition around each one of them. So when we talk about narrow AI, is those tools that are very much designed for specific tasks and that are trained on specific data sets. When we talk about general purpose ones, they're the more broader data sets that can use different formats in terms of outputs, and they're probably the ones that we're more used to using from a general consumer point of view. And then we've got the predictive versus generative. So the predictive will be very much tools that are using past data to predict the future. And these tools have really been in place for a very long time. And the ones that exploded in 2023, 2022, I think it was, with ChatGPT, are the more generative AI tools, which create new content, but don't answer the question, what is going to happen in the future? And these are some applications within the context of financial advice. And our conversation is not going to focus on the general consumer, general purpose tools. We're going to be focusing on these for the purpose of the conversation today. So question number 1, what are the ethical implications of using AI to inform financial decisions for clients? And there are many, many frameworks out there. And also with the advent of AI, the value chain, the financial advisor value chain has changed. AI now mediates conversations with vendors, with clients. However, the principal social responsibility of the advisor towards the client remains the same, and ethical principles are equally applicable to the context of using AI. I'm going to spend a bit more time on this slide because it's going to be framing the whole of the presentation. And I'm going to be talking about those responsible AI principles that should be in place to enable the best outcomes, starting with the concept of the fiduciary duty and human oversight. And this is the idea that AI, as Martin was saying, AI shouldn't replace the advisor, it should complement it, and it should be there to provide support. And ultimately, is the advisor who is ultimately responsible for all advice. And you might have heard the expression, the human in the loop. Whatever outputs come from an AI tool, there must be a human at the end that checks and validates whether the recommendations are suitable for the clients. The next is around client-centric transparency and explainability. And that is transparency not only between the advisor and the client, at which point, what and how do you disclose that you are using AI tools to generate the advice? Transparency in how you communicate that, also framing the conversation in a positive light. So AI can be used to provide deeper insights or be more efficient, leaving the advisor to have more time for those kind of value add relationships. And also using plain language to explain the results that come out of AI generated outputs. And explainability is around the ability to be able to explain how an AI has made that decision. So no black box decision making should be in place. Suitability, fairness, and non-discrimination. So this is revolves around the concerns that algorithms can actually exacerbate whether there are any biases within the training data. So it's really important that tools that are used equally treat all demographics, that they are tested to that extent, and that special protection is put in place for vulnerable clients. All this isn't efficient or effective if there's no accountability and governance frameworks in place. So that is really key. So there needs to be complementation with clear documentation, clear accountability, senior management, responsibility and oversight, and clear policies that outline the incident response processes whenever there's an error within AI. Data protection and client confidentiality, this is really an extension of GDPR that applies equally to AI tools. And lastly, as I was reviewing my notes, I realized that this box says exactly the same thing as the one beside it, so apologies for that. But safety and reliability touches on the fact, on reliability from the point of view that outputs need to be consistent, need to be accurate, need to be robust, and outputs from AI tools need to be able to be reproducible, always the same. And safety applies to any IT, other IT and data solution. You need to be to have kind of business continuity systems in place to ensure that if something fails, you can still conduct your business equally. So those are the principles. When it comes to translating those principles into how you manage them, then this is the how. This is where ethical challenges arise. So it's all very well to say that AI needs to be explainable, that there needs to be treating customers equally across the board. But there's issues that arise on like how firms should do this. And these are some challenges that are still being debated. And we're going to be focusing on especially the aspect around inconsistent outcomes. Some of the feedback that we received said that sometimes large language models are updated and that can lead to recommendations that contradict previous recommendations. So what happens there? How is that managed? Hallucinations is something that most of us will have come across by using the general purpose AI tools, where they are very much, the generative AI tools are really programmed to create plausible outputs, but that they might not always be correct or accurate, and they might be invented. And sometimes AI might actually miss out on emotional nuances that clients have. So an advisor might pick up on like small cues that indicate that an individual or a client is more risk averse or their risk appetite, and that might be missed. And then lastly, there's the commercial interest and the conflict of interest between vendors that are not really looking for the best interests of the client. And that is why having that human in the loop, that ultimate advisor that has the ultimate decision, is so important. Ethical challenges lead to ethical dilemmas, and we've got some here that are articulated in the form of question marks because they are dilemmas and there's no clear answers. So in terms of disclosure, at which point, what and how do you actually disclose to the client that you are using AI to support your advice? Are you just disclosing that you're using it for note-taking? Are you disclosing it that you're using it for suitability reports, or that you are actually using it to generate advice in itself? When do you do that on engagement? Do you just publish a policy online? And how do you do that? Do you do that verbally throughout the process? So question mark there. And what happens if the client doesn't want for their information to be treated by an AI tool? The fee structure can be impacted as well. So the efficiency gains that are acquired through using AI, is that passed on to the client with cheaper fees? And how does it compare with traditional tools? So there are higher risks when using AI because there can be data leakages and biases. Should clients be informed of these risks, or should they just be informed of the positive benefits that can derive from using AI? AI FOMO, the fear of missing out. Everyone's doing it. I should do it as well. But firms should really ask themselves, what is the problem that we are trying to solve, rather than just following a trend because everyone is doing it. And what about vulnerable customers? There are some solutions out there that are using transactional data to actually predict whether a customer might become vulnerable in the near future. Question mark there, can those tools really do that? Another question is, would a vulnerable client want their risk profiling and their vulnerability profile to be treated like that? So question mark, question mark, question mark, ethical dilemmas. And when it comes to treating clients, all clients need explanations in plain language. However, the higher the stakes, the greater the potential impact on the client, the greater the duty of care, transparency, and tailored oversight. I'm going to be focusing on two cohorts of clients. So spoken about vulnerable clients already. So they might be at a higher disadvantage because of biased algorithms and the flags that the training data might have that may lead to additional exposure. Do we need to, as I said before, do we need explicit consent for profiling? Do we need to ask the question? And vulnerable clients might need, depending on the vulnerability as well, because it's a complex area, they might need more personalized explanations, more attention, and heightened suitability checks as well. However, one of the stakeholder interviews also highlighted that there are potential advantages in using AI because humans also have biases. And sometimes when you are dealing with someone that has a visible disability, the advisor might fall into unconscious biases that otherwise an AI might just be very objective and not fall into those. So there's pros and cons. And then speaking with about high net worth individuals, they might be more accepting of AI, but they also will be more demanding. So you'll need to be better equipped to be able to explain the technicalities behind the tools that you are using. And in terms of risk mitigation strategies, the more complex the clients, the recommendation is that they should be advised using multiple independent AI tools to reduce any potential bias risks. Moving on to research question number 2, which is all about security and confidentiality of data. Many of these risks apply to any context in which client data is being used. Of particular relevance here is the unclear data flows between the firm and the third party, and where's that data stored if you're using APIs. So it's really important that you do your due diligence, not only to understand where the vendors are storing data, but where the vendors are storing data. So there's a whole value chain issue there. Over collection of personal data, so that all falls under the data minimization principle of GDPR. And another area of risk is the area of data leakage or shadow use. So this is when your advisor in the firm is actually using general purpose consumer-led ChatGPTs or the Geminis without being approved tools, and they basically upload client data with all the consequences that has. So that is, a big risk in terms of leaks. And lack of understanding of the technology stack can lead to firms adopting a risk-averse attitude, so will be left behind, or become cavalier, because sometimes a lack of understanding can lead to overconfidence. And in terms of GDPR compliance, it's always, the advisor that remains fully liable for any data breaches. So saying, I didn't know, isn't enough. Best practices for securing client data, principles that apply equally to any context in which client data is being used and managed and stored and processed. But probably from an AI point of view, having on-premise solutions, so this is ring-fenced solutions where the data isn't sent externally from the virtual walls of the organization, would be a key one to take in place. And then there's something around having a critical distinction and understanding of what happens with the data when it's used for training versus when it's used for fine-tuning. So when the data, client data or data in general is used for the initial phase, that is carried out by the vendor, and the GDPR compliance falls with them. But once you onboard an AI tool within your organization and you actually fine-tune the tool to serve the objectives of your firm, that is where the compliance lies with you. Research question 3 touches on regulatory challenges and compliance issues. And there's 4 main areas where we heard that there are many challenges. And the first one is around the rapid pace of change. Technology is changing so quickly. Regulation always falls behind in terms of advances in technology. But in the case of AI, the pace of change is really exponential. We were speaking with a regulator the other day in the UK, and they're already talking about agentic AI, recognizing that they still haven't managed to understand the non-agentic AI. So it's really, really difficult to keep pace with the change. There's also a lack of specific guidance for financial advisory firms from financial regulators on AI implementation. In the EU, you have the EU AI Act, which provides a rule-based regulatory framework, which is probably easier to follow than a principles-based one, but there's still feedback around a lack of guidance on how is that implemented. Data governance and cross-border operations is like how to consolidate different regulatory environments, and the screening through the same box issue is a recognition that there's still no standardized approach to doing due diligence. So firms are encouraged to create non-negotiable standards in their procurement processes to ensure that they meet ethical requirements, governance, protection, and all the things that we've been talking about so far. From a development point of view, regulators are creating AI sandboxes. That's less affecting the advice, but is more affecting kind of the development of these new tools. So these are safe spaces where AI can be tested in a controlled environment without breaching any regulations or fearing retaliation from the regulators. So these are very useful things, examples from Luxembourg, the UK, and I'm sure many other countries in Europe. And how should firms really go about ensuring compliance with data protection laws? These are very much the same, apply equally to existing data protection laws. So these are just some of the principles. One interesting one is the issue of informed consent to obtain explicit consent for data use, including for training models with historical data. So one example came up where a firm was using chats and historical data to train models, and that data hadn't been, so the clients hadn't given that consent for the data to be used for training models, if that makes sense. And having that top-down understanding of AI, so that senior management understanding, although it has to be at all levels, really. With the introduction of the EU AI Act, there's an obligation for firms to ensure explainability and auditability. I spoke about what explainability is. You need to know how a decision has been made. So in order to do so, there needs to be audit logs of what decisions have been arrived to, decision-making parameters, like how those decisions have been arrived to, and model cards that actually define what are the uses, what are the applications, and what are the learning large language models that are training each one of the models that are being used. And very, very important is that human in the loop always. There always needs to be the human oversight governing every single decision. Regulations are complex. There's not just the EU AI Act, but there's a multiplicity of digital laws and regulations. And this is just to showcase that is really, really complex environment. So some links here that you can explore in more detail, because I believe the slides are going to be shared. The research question number 4, how do we go about mitigating those legal liabilities and from AI-generated advice? So some primary legal risks, briefly spoken about the risk of not being responsible for the decision-making. So like giving the decision to the vendor, it's always the advisor that has to have that ultimate responsibility. The fact that sometimes AI might not pick up on nuances or changes in circumstances, and that means that the firm might be lacking or not be able to meet those fiduciary standards with the client. Biased outputs driven by biased algorithms, a lack of explainability, so the whole black box situation and data privacy regulations that would also link with the broader GDPR compliance issues, and lack of accountability at senior management is very important. So what can firms do to mitigate those risks? So there are some strategies. I always come back to the human in the loop because it's so important. But things like onboarding solutions and AI solutions that have context embedded with them, that take into account the culture, the laws, the populations that are going to be affected, value alignment to ensure that ethical standards are embedded within the tools, that testing is done on a regular basis to ensure that outcomes don't differ between those that are using AI and those that are not using AI, and that ongoing training is embedded within organizational culture, and that is training not of the models but of the advisors. And in terms of governance framework, it's just so important to have that senior level accountability, that documentation, clear policies, and also an environment that promotes psychological safety, so that if anyone needs to speak up and spot something, that they are free to do that within the firm. And ultimately, AI literacy, there's no graduation for AI literacy, and this is because it's an ongoing thing. And this was something that all our stakeholders agreed upon, which is AI literacy and education is the first line of defense, especially focusing not only of understanding the fundamentals, but ensuring that advisors are equipped to make the right judgments and the right ethical decisions. And in terms of the implementation requirements, these are laid out in the AI EU Act, which training has to be role specific, it has to be ongoing, it has to include technical and human skills, and it has to be proactive. so not a tick box exercise. And lastly, some conclusions and recommendations for firms. Before you onboard with an AI solution, ask yourself why you're doing it. What is the problem that you are trying to solve? The solution might not be an AI, it might be a people solution or a process solution. AI literacy, that ongoing training is so fundamental to understand the risks, the fundamentals, the potential biases. Committing to an ethical code of conduct, like the one from EFPA, which really is there to ensure that practitioners and advisors apply a moral judgment to decision-making when they are making recommendations, and that they role model professional behaviors. The human in the loop, I've spoken about that over and over again, that there's proper value chain oversight so that there's real transparency across the value chain where the data is being used and the proper due diligence processes are in place. Framing communications with clients in a positive way. We don't want to scare people. We want to talk about the positives as well as the negatives. And monitoring outcomes, as I said before, ensuring that when you do your testing, that you evaluate whether outcomes generated from AI are equally suitable than those that are not. And lastly, ensure that you have an annual AI audit that looks for biases, accuracy, explainability on an annual basis as a standard. Lastly, if you wanted to see if you are succeeding with your AI strategy, these are some suggested success metrics that you might want to consider in your firm.
Okay, it's all, Vanessa?
That's all, sorry.
Okay. Thanks, Vanessa, for the first presentation. There will be the space for the Q&A after all presentation, but if you have any short question, you can ask right now. No one? No ethic questions? Okay, so it's up to you, Markus.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, Martin. Thank you, Vanessa. And then I start with our topic. Oh, wait a second. I want to go back one and start here. So welcome, everyone. Thank you for being here. It's an honor for me to be here and to meet you all. Yesterday at the dinner, we sat together with 7 people at the table, and we were talking in, I guess, like 10 different languages. So it was really nice to talk to all of you. Iliana could speak at least 7 languages from all the 10. So it was really fun to meet you all, but it's also really nice to share the same passion here. And it's a passion for financial advice, for financial planning, and for doing this on a fee-based and on a fair level for the client and for the people all over Europe. And that's what I like in being here and what we are doing here. Yeah, so I start with our topic. It's AI integration and best practices. So AI promises a lot of improvements like speed, precision, and also personalization. But there are also serious questions we have to raise about ethics, about regulation, about trust. And our goal in this presentation is not to give you the answers. It's more about spark an honest debate and to raise some questions we can talk about later. So we are a group, as you already heard, of European advisors who know the reality of the day-to-day practice. And we are also aware of other countries, of the USA, of the UK, where the advisors are in some topics ahead of us, maybe also in the use of AI. So in this presentation, I also want us to look in that direction. Yeah, I think in this room we all have the same understanding of financial planning, of financial advice. So I don't want to go too much into depth here. But what I liked already this morning is that all the presenters spoke about financial health and that the people, who live in Europe want to be or should be financial healthy. That's a word or a saying we don't use too much in Germany. Their financial advice is still often about the highest return, but not about goals and being financial healthy. So that's already something I can take with me. And I hope you can hear me, so this is better. A few years ago, I did an internship in the US, and my manager always said to me, it's all about the clients, it's all about the people. The job we do is about people, and now I can add it's about financial health, and it's about bringing financial health to the people. And so let me start with our presentation and with AI that we see as an opportunity for bringing this financial health to a broader range of people. Because as a single financial advisor in Germany, I can only serve maybe 100 clients, and maybe AI can help us to serve hundreds or thousands of clients or millions of people if we use it in the correct way. So yeah, as you know, AI is reshaping industries. It's everywhere. It's in medicine, it's in marketing, in logistics. It's coming to finance, but finance, I think is a little different. Finance is more regulated, it's personal, and it's based on trust. Medicine is also based on trust, but I think finance is even more based on trust than most of the other fields. So it's really important to keep that in mind all the time. And the ethic part from Vanessa was really important for that. So our key question here is, can we leverage AI's potential without without losing what makes our financial advice human? And that's how I come to our first question. How can an AI be used to personalize and optimize investment portfolios for individual clients? So AI is already strong in risk assessment, and also giving you an asset allocation, also in doing predictive analysis. And recently, the AI in Germany passed even the German tax exam, which is very complicated. We heard this morning Germany has a very, very complicated tax system, but AI can answer all the questions in these tax exams. But is AI also aware of all the human sides of all the data that should come from human emotions from our clients? I talk in my day-to-day practice. Is AI's potential that big that it can already get the emotions from the clients and give you a personalized portfolio that is also for situations when the person is going through a divorce or going to other hard times in life? Could AI be that aware of all those things, of crises, of thought that come to people's minds? We were not sure about during our group task, and so we opened this discussion and asked the questions you can see below. Is this personalization truly personal, or is it more data driven? And we all know about the prompts and how important the prompts are, and what you put in the ChatGPT, for example, that determines a lot what comes out. And so if the AI cannot get the data from emotions, maybe the answers are also not what you expect they should be. Our second topic or second questions was about best practices for AI integration in the financial planning process. So it's mainly about GDPR compliance topics. It's also a lot about data quality. So what is the most important work, and also what also takes the longest time during my financial planning process with my clients, is to get the data from the client and also to put the data into our financial planning software. So getting the data is very complicated because people don't have it stored in some folder on their computer. Mainly they have stored it in some basket where they normally do their laundry, and they bring it to our offices, and we have a basket full of paperwork, and we have to put it into our financial planning software. And it could be way easier, because with a basket of paperwork, I guess it's also complicated for the AI to read everything out, and the documents from insurances and income statements and everything. They are very different and not the same. But there is also, and it is negotiated also in Brussels, I guess, for the European Union, something called FIDA. It's financial data access, and there's a regulation that should come with the potential to help all the financial planners to get data from insurance companies and from other companies. You probably know already this PSD2 thing where at least banking data is transferred from one bank to another or from the bank to the financial planner. And if the data quality is improving, it's also helpful for the AI integration. It's also important to be transparent in the algorithm, and we heard a lot today that it's not that easy to know how transparent and how exactly AI is working. So it's really important for our practice to be transparent and to know as an advisor how everything works. So as Vanessa already stated, a pilot testing, something like your sandbox would be very helpful to do before you roll out it in your whole system. So till now, as an advisor, I do not really use AI for really financial planning. I use AI for summarized calls or for marketing. Also in our CRM system, we use AI, but till now, most advisors, also Vicente wrote me in advance, most advisors only use Copilot or ChatGPT to ask some simple questions. But till now, we not really use it in our day-to-day work. And yeah, I am also scared of the GDPR compliance things, or which program should I use, which program got data of the client. So it's a hard question to answer, and nothing I can really answer here directly. But we also want to bring in the discussion when we look overseas to Asia or to the US, they are a bit faster in integrating and using AI, but they regulate second. So they innovate first, they regulate second, and I don't really know which is the way to go. Is it better to regulate first and innovate second, or does it hinder something? I'm not sure about which way is the best way. Our third question was how can financial advisors stay current with advancements in AI technologies and incorporate them into their practice effectively? And that's a very similar question I had already in the end of the slide before. It's hard to know which software to use and which software is good. It's also a question of the age. As also Danielle spoke to me, she said advisors in Italy, if they are like younger, a certain age, they use AI and they use it a lot. They use a few more different tools. If they are older, they don't really sure which tool to use. So I would say it's really important to do this education and training mainly at the companies. But if you are a smaller company, maybe also some organization like EFPA should think about doing some education or some training, giving out some resources, because yeah, at a smaller company, we are also only a small company. I don't really know what to tell our employees about using AI and which tool to use, which tool not to use. So it's very important also to think about this. Maybe it's even, as you can see in the discussion point, maybe it should be even a part of our certification to have some certain AI training. But yeah, it's the question is who is responsible for everything and who should it be? Let's come to our fourth topic. It's the ethical information from employers. What should they deliver? What should they be forced to deliver? And yeah, it should of course be GDPR clear, and the data should be private. And yeah, there's a gap where to make the border. what is really data privacy, which data goes to other countries or goes somewhere else. So at the moment we are at our company testing a new CRM tool. It's HubSpot. It's from the US, and we are very often not sure about which data we can type in there, which data we cannot bring in there. And then we have several further tools, AI tools, who can summarize those data. But we are often there that we say, okay, we don't have enough information about HubSpot and how their AI tool works, so that we cannot really use the whole power of the AI that could be there. So it's yeah, it's not easy. And from an advisor perspective, we often say we will be more secure than innovate too much. But yeah, we don't know which way is the right way. And in our group, doing our group work, we really often discussed about those topics. And as I often mentioned here, it's also yeah, different Europe's position when you look to the USA or China. They are advancing rapidly in these fields. They also have financial planning tools that are more developed than ours, and you can already put in some like income statement, and you get like a first glimpse of a financial plan. In Europe, we are more cautious. And yeah, as I stated, also it's fear versus opportunity, and also the question: should we in Europe build our own system, our own AI financial ecosystem? Should we rely on global players and wait that they advance also in regulation? I'm not sure about, but our colleague Dirk, he brought in this slide: where's Europe in AI development, and which big companies from the world come from Europe or from the US. And yeah, you only find one AI company that is based in Europe. So yeah, I'm not sure about. Maybe we could also say, okay, it's fine to use the US companies, but for our GDPR, it's not really the best way. So we should all think about which is the best way, and that is what we want to bring up with our presentation here. To just think about which is the right way, how much risk should we go, how much regulation is important, and yeah, how easy it is for the single advisor, because we talked about today that every advisor should be on a fee level and should serve many clients and help the clients. But if there are too many stones in the way, it's not too easy to help the single client. Yeah. So our last statement, it's similar to what I guess Bill Gates should have said once. He said like banks are not necessary, but banking will always be necessary. I don't know if financial advice will always come from financial advisors, or if maybe some kind of financial advice could someday be given by the AI, if you use it correctly, or if there are enough good regulations for those tools, and that the advisors are maybe replaced. But we in our group, we were thinking about at least advisors who don't use AI at all may be replaced by those who use, because we think it's a helpful tool if you use it on the right way. Yeah.
Okay, vielen Dank, Markus. If you have a question, please make some notes. There will be a lot of space for the discussion after the presentation. I also make some notes during Markus' presentation. And now we can switch. Here is the second microphone. I don't know if Arthur, you begin. Okay, with the last presentation of the third group, what focus on the future development and using of AI tools, and what are the most used tools, and so on. So it's your floor, Arthur.
Yeah. Okay. So our group focused on answering the question: how AI gonna influence the work of financial advisor? I think that this is the most emotional part for us because it's about our work. So few words about our methodology that we used. So we asked the same questions, 4 different AI models to give us answers to these questions, and we compared them to our brainstorm sessions that we held before. So first of all, these all models were agreed about the advantages of using AI in predicting the trends and to help to better understand the markets to our clients. So the main advantages are, of course, the ability to process huge data sets, spot hidden correlations, and monitor markets in real time. But the approach of the models were different. So, for example, Grok was focusing on the technical aspect, but on the other hand, Claude pointed that relying on the AI could be very dangerous. For example, when we consider the black swan events like COVID or, for example, the big financial crisis. So it recommended the approach that could be a cooperation between the AI models and the financial advisors. When it comes to our brainstorm insights, we agreed on these advantages because they could help develop the whole industry and the work of us as financial advisors. But we pointed some risks, like for example, the biggest risk is like over reliance. So this over-reliance could also make like a lazy advisor. So the advisor could rely so much on the AI that it like doesn't develop his own skills. So this we thought could be a big risk of developing this technology. Also, we pointed that there could be some cultural differences between clients and the reliance on AI, because now we see that some technologies are being developed much faster in some countries, and in other countries there are still clients who want a personal advisor and just to make a handshake and to build a trust with a real human. The second issue, the second question was, what impact does AI have on job roles within the financial advisory industry? And in this case, also there were different answers from different models. So they all pointed, of course, the automation of routine tasks. That is, I think, the biggest advantage of developing the AI technology. But for example, Grok was the one that showed the risk of job loss. So this was the only model that pointed to this issue. But for example, Claude and ChatGPT were focused on the role of human skills and developing the coaching and communication with our clients. So more the behavioral finance. And in our brainstorm, we also agreed with this statement that probably our role will change in that direction, that we're gonna be more like a psychologist, less than analysts in our work. So this was our approach, and we also were a little bit worried about the risk of job loss, especially in the analyst role or the role of an advisor, which has some which has some certificates. So this probably would be the roles that could get the most harm in the future. The last thing that we pointed is the worry about clients that gonna prefer low-cost offers because probably they gonna be cheaper and also very effective. So we see that in the generation of Gen Z, probably the personal advisor would be less needed because they, like we see in the research, they use a lot of mobile financial products, and they just don't need this personal touch. Yes. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Arthur. Okay, next we were wondering can you switch the slide? What are the long-term implications of AI adoption in the financial advisor industry for both advisors and clients? In terms of implication for advisors, AI will automate tasks like data analysis, compliance checks, and portfolio management, allowing advisors to manage more clients and focus on complex planning, potentially increasing firm competitiveness and revenue. Routine jobs may diminish, evolving to hybrid position, emphasizing critical thinking, empathy, and AI oversight, with new opportunities in AI ethics and implementation. Advisors will need skills in interpreting AI outputs, ethical decision-making, and interpersonal communication, as human elements remain essential for trust building during volatility. Of course, there are some risks there as well. Potential job displacement in entry-level roles, coupled with concerns over AI transparency, regulatory compliance, and biases, could erode trust and increase liability. In terms of implications for the clients, AI will democratize advice, closing the advice gap that you already mentioned, I think, in the first round, for retail investors through robo-advisors and chatbots, offering cost-effective 24/7 personalized strategies. Long-term, clients may benefit from AI-driven risk management, fraud detection, and scenario planning, resulting in optimized investments and proactive advice. Hybrid models could blend AI efficiency with human empathy, fostering transparent, trust-based relationships. Of course, there are some risks here as well. Privacy breaches, algorithmic biases, and over-reliance on AI could lead to inaccurate advice, such as deepfake fraud or disinformation-driven market panics. Clients might perceive AI as less credible, eroding trust without human oversight. Now let's move to the next milestone of our think tank group. Will AI impact adversely or positively on the relationships between the financial advisor and their client? On the positive side, by handling administrative duties like data analysis, compliance checks, and basic reporting, AI frees advisors to spend more time on relationship building and complex problem solving. AI analyzes vast data sets to deliver tailored recommendations, making advice more accessible and inclusive for diverse clients. This can build deeper trust by demonstrating proactive, client-centric service. Tools powered by AI provide real-time insights into market trends, risk management, and client behaviors, leading to better financial results and more informed discussions. The cyborg advisor approach combines AI precision with human empathy, creating a collaborative ecosystem that amplifies advisors' strengths and leads to superior client experiences. On the other side, over-reliance on AI tools like robo-advisors or chatbots might make interactions feel impersonal, diminishing the emotional intelligence that defines strong advisor-client bonds. Issues like algorithmic biases, data security, or already mentioned black box decision-making could undermine confidence if clients question AI's reliability or fear privacy breaches. If AI displaces junior roles or alters workflows, it could indirectly affect client service quality, as less experienced advisors might struggle with AI oversight, leading to inconsistencies. The net impact is positive there, with AI empowering advisors to deliver more value and clients to receive better, more accessible services, as long as human oversight remains central. Experts emphasize that AI isn't an augmentative partner, not a replacement. And now I will pass the microphone to Thomas.
Thank you, Paul. Thank you. Now, for the conclusion, we decided to divide it into 3 parts: impact on advisors, impact on clients, and for companies. For the advisor, the main impact will be on the value-added tasks that we do. Those tasks will be done better, faster, and we will be able to focus on this one with the help by dealing on the routine tasks. The results will be an increased productivity, and we think that in the long term, it could narrow the gap between senior and junior advisors. For the clients, we must be careful because the clients need the human touch, this exchange that we have with them. And also, we have a lot of concerns with the data privacy, the algorithm biases, as it's been said by Vanessa. So we think that it can strengthen the relationship between the advisor and the clients, but we will still be in need of a human and regulation. Yes, it works, yes. For the companies, we think it will enhance the operational efficiency and the competitiveness, and it will also help with innovation in risk management, even though it brings new risks. It will also boost their revenue through cost reduction and by attracting new clients in need of this AI. There, on the negative aspect, there will be a big gap at the beginning between small firms and big firms because of the cost of the AI tool that will be used. And we think that in the end, there's a need of an ethical AI adoption that will help the financial stability and the financial health of the clients. But there will still be a need of vigilance when using these tools. And there will also be new opportunities for new leadership in the sectors when some companies will start using those tools. Thank you.
Okay. So thanks to all of you for a second and a third group. And now from the audience, any questions? Ask them right now. Okay, so I will put the microphone. It's near.
Wagner Oskanyan, Yerevan Business School, Armenia. So thanks a lot for very informative and very useful panel discussion and presentation. So I have one question to all the panelists. What AI tool you used during preparing these presentations?
We uploaded our input into Google Drive, and then is this working? And then we used the native Gemini to summarize the results, and then we manually beautified the slides.
For my part, I used the Copilot, but I don't know if my group, Marketa, you prepared the presentation, or Danielle, maybe you have an idea? No? You? Yeah. Yeah.
Each of us used a different tool in our group. Some used Grok, some ChatGPT, some Claude. They were all listed in the presentation. And we also used premium versions and paid ones. So the objective was also to compare the results of the different AI, because in the future, different companies will use different AIs. So we wanted to see if the results are really different.
And as we said at the beginning, we did that only after we had the brainstorming session without any tools, because we wanted to compare it to our insights. It was, as Arthur said, we were more skeptical about the outcome than the AI tools.
Okay, maybe a question from my side to Marcus, because you mentioned that you used some AI tool for summarize your calls. That was interesting for me, and I would like to ask you how it works. What does it mean that the AI makes some summarization of your calls?
Yes, it's from Microsoft. It's Microsoft Teams, and then the premium account there, and yeah, there it transcripts the call, so there's no video of the call, but it transcripts the call. We always ask our participants if they are fine with that, and then we have a whole transcription and automatically also a summary and the to-dos afterwards for both for my side and also for the client side. Before sending this out, I always read over them, and if you have calls that last like 1 hour or maybe 1 hour 15, 1 hour 30, it works out really good. If it goes longer, the tool always tries to make the same length of task and also the same length of short summary. So if you have a 3-hour call, maybe not each point is in there, or if you have a shorter call, there are too many points, but you can still interact with Teams Premium then and write, okay, give me a longer summary or leave the notes out, and that's really helpful. I have to say for the calls for my side and also for the client side. So, and also for my colleagues, that they know when I put this into our CRM system, they know what we spoke about. When some client calls, they can directly answer the phone and say, okay, in the last meeting you talked about this and that. So that's really helpful. Yeah.
Okay, thanks for the tip. Next question, please.
Yeah, hello, I'm Marek Dybus from Euroclear. So my question is quite long, sorry for that. So I want to touch on the sentence from the second module that AI won't replace the financial advisors, but those who use it will replace the ones that don't. So from the ethical perspective in that field, so do you see a need to some kind of regulation to disclose the extent of the use of the AI in the financial advice process, and how such regulation can work with a need of confidentiality from the company perspective to preserve their competitive advantages in the field of AI?
Thank you very much. First question, yes, I see the need for regulation in this field and for regulating the advisors, but I'm also a friend of leave the market, make its own decision. So I would not regulate too much like that. Every advisor has to survive. I like that the best advisors survive, and that's the way I see it. But I think there is regulation needed for how to use AI tools, and also for the AI tools that maybe even put the advisors out of the market. That the AI tools like chatbots. They replace some advisors already. So I do work together with some US companies who offer financial advice for companies and for the employees of the company. So an employee of some American company in Germany could book a call with me, and I give just independent financial advice. But now they also replace my advice or my sessions with a chatbot, and some employees also book the chatbot first and then talk to me. So it's most of the time the chatbot gives really good answers and it's trained really well, but sometimes it's really helpful to have a second opinion of an advisor. So that could already be some kind of regulation for the tools that is maybe good way for both sides. So now our calls don't last that long, and they speak at first to the chatbot, and then they speak to me, and it does not last the long time. but still there's some human who oversees this. But I don't know what kind of law should regulate it like this. But I guess this answers already parts of question number 2. But I'm not sure if I answered everything of that. You can. Yeah, of course.
Any additional question?
I can, if I may add something to answer that question, maybe from our expert interviews, the recommendation was that from an ethical point of view and to build that trust with the client is always best practice to disclose when AI is being used. But then the other question is, what do you disclose and what use cases are you using the AI for? If it's just note-taking, if you're using it for risk profiling, if you're using for profiling for vulnerability. So it just depends on your own internal policies. But in principle, you need to build trust with the client, and that is done with transparency. But then in terms of if existing regulations cover this, under GDPR, certain use cases, you need explicit consent and you need lawful purposes for processing the data. And if, for example, historical data is being used for training large language models, you need to disclose that, because if not, the data will be used for a different purpose that was consented for in the first place. So there are already regulations in place, and with the EU AI Act, that also includes kind of more regulatory guidance around that.
Okay, for you?
Yeah.
Okay, so Mariola, you have a question?
Hi, Mariola Szymańska, EFPA Poland. First, I would like to thank for your work and congratulate for your excellent presentations today. Sometimes I think we should put our certified financial advisors prime time on TV, because then we can feel your passion for financial advice. The question, as financial advisors, do you feel that you are the agents of change in this AI transformation in financial advice? So in other words, are you consulted by your employers, your managers, in how to implement AI into the process of financial advice, which gives accessible, fair and quality advice to the customers?
No one wants to answer.
Okay, then I start here as an advisor, but we are only a small company where I am more or less the employer, so I have to give the information also to yeah. Okay. No, I think it's very important to be the person of change, as you said, with the AI tools, and I think it's also very important to not see the AI, and sometimes in the German market I can like sense it, that the AI is seen as sometimes something like an enemy during these times where the investors get also information and don't come to us as advisors anymore. But I think it's very important to be open about the use of AI and to use it really for your best practices, like the call summary, which helps both sides. So often in the beginning of our Teams calls, I talk to the clients and ask, can I do the transcription of the call? It will help both of us, and nothing is shared with anyone else. Still, especially in Germany, many people are scared of the data. But everybody agrees in the end and sees only advantages. So that's already very nice. And I say, yeah, see the AI as a friend, but now I pass it on for further answers.
Okay, so I work in private banking in wealth management, and my company built a whole team of people analyzing the markets, preparing the recommendations. So I think it could be very hard to implement some of the AI tools, because the team members could feel a little bit worried about it, because, you know, this is the day-to-day work. So maybe it would be at the beginning the process of helping them preparing these recommendations and analysis, but it's hard to implement tools that could replace them at this moment, I think, because there's a big team of people and they are also worried about their jobs. So
any other comments? Thomas, Pavel? No? Okay, Roger.
Yeah,
please, your question.
interesting. Roger from Luxembourg. It's interesting because I was involved in 85, 40 years ago, with a very early sandbox exercise using what was the very beginning of artificial intelligence. And from that famous day 40 years ago, I still keep very strictly the same discipline. We are on the way to create the digital twin. And I heard a couple of times on this scene, one or the other. That's excluded for me. It's one enhanced by the other. We have a human being who is in charge. He's amazingly assisted. Assisted is probably the wrong word. He's augmented. He's emphasized. He's tripled in size by the capability of the machine. But they work hand in hand, with a huge advantage that a human being works eight hours a day. He has holidays, he has weekends, and his digital twin has no strike, never goes on holiday, and works day and night. And when we know how to leverage this machine who is always here, coupled, and the word coupled, twinned with a human being, that's for me the future. It was my view 40 years ago. It is even more my view today. It's not one or the other, it's together. That's what I wanted to say.
Okay.
To just follow on what you were just saying, and you mentioned that AI won't replace advisors. The advisors that know how to use the AI will replace advisors. There's another way of thinking this that follows on what you were saying and applies to firms. Firms that use AI for efficiency gains alone will probably fall down the line, and those that use it for augmentation are those that will succeed potentially.
I agree with you, of course. But to be honest, no one here knows where this development of this technique will gonna go. For me, for example, think about Google Maps. At first, when it was introduced to the market, we used Google Maps, but we were very aware where we are going, because maybe it doesn't work, maybe it will go to the field or to the forest. But now, when we use it, after a couple of years, I'm sure that when you're going to the city that you don't know, you can't remember the route you were because you are so, it's such a better tool than at the beginning that we rely on it more than on ourselves. So I think AI could be very similar. At first, we are very cautious. We are not over reliance on it. But with time, I'm not sure if that will be the issue. That's why we were talking about lazy advisors with time.
Yeah, but I think that on the market, it's the rule where there are losers and winners, and there are always losers and winners. And I think that models will also compete with each other, and probably there will be better and worse models. So, even now we have many different investment products that are already managed by AI, but I don't see better results than in some ordinary strategies like, I don't know, like the passive only buying ETFs. Like, they don't get any better than this. So I'm not worried about it.
Okay. Next question.
Marta Gelová, EFPA, Czech Republic. I would like to follow what Roger said. He remembers a little bit more than I do, but I wanted to point out about 10 years ago, robot advice. I don't know if anyone remembers that. that basically history repeats itself, and every time we learn from it, because I remember those approximately 10 years ago, the advisors were sort of in danger, and they thought that they were going to disappear from the financial market, and everything is going to be done by robot advisors and so on. And I think advisors learned from that period, and a lot of tools came out of that to compare products, to compare conditions and everything else. So I'm quite curious what's going to come out this time when the, if you like, further generation of robot advice, meaning AI, comes. And I think it just goes with what's said here, just to sort of bring you back a little bit to the history. That it goes in circles. So that's it. Thank you.
Okay.
Just on that point, I think we're already seeing massive layouts of entry-level jobs here and now. So that's quite scary. And probably that didn't happen when robo-advice came in. And that is really creating an issue in terms of the pipeline of people entering the sector. You usually work by climbing the ladder in those entry-level jobs. That's going to create a huge issue of graduates and supply and demand in terms of workforce. And you were talking about that before as well, I think.
Hi, so I'm Eddie Grant. I'm the EFPA UK chair and on the board, but also I have a role with the UK government around disability. I just want to pick up something that Vanessa started to talk about around AI and the fact that, do you think you're going to get more inclusive client base with AI, or will we see AI start excluding groups? And you can see it in the insurance sector. Actually, the more data we have, the less choice disabled people have when it comes to underwriting. So are we going to see exactly the same repeated in financial planning?
Okay. What was the other question? Any reaction?
Yeah, I don't know. For the advisors.
That's also the reaction, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's a good question. Yeah.
I need to think about that.
I'll follow it up then. What can we do with the researchers? I think it's a really nice thing what you've done. What can we do to make sure we don't see that outcome? So with your experience, and the question also was, is your client base today more inclusive now you're using AI, or are you actually just focusing on the same type of clients, but you're just doing more of the same?
I could talk from a UK point of view with a consumer duty, where there's an obligation now to ensure that outcomes are equal across the board. That didn't exist 10 years ago when insurance was starting to really use algorithmic decision making to make, like policy decisions. So maybe the future is a bit better now that the consumer duty is in place. Sorry.
Take the UK, what companies have done is actually said, my product isn't any good for this group, so I'm going to pull out the market. So choice gets smaller because you can't demonstrate value, and disabled people have actually been seen.
There's a point to try and educate firms, advisors, to realize that inclusiveness has commercial value as well. It's a bit cynical. You're not doing it maybe for the right reasons. You're doing it for some commercial reasons, but there's probably a discussion to have there.
Well, now I think that we have a very big gap between people that are wealthy and have access to very professional analysts and quality service. But we talked about that AI gonna help make these services cheaper. And probably it also would make them more open for people with disabilities, because they could enter the market. There is now only available for wealthy people, and they could also get a personalized financial plan for much cheaper. Yeah, but that is much cheaper.
Okay, next one, please.
Yeah, hello, Claudia Figel from EFPA Austria. I would like to thank you first for your excellent work that you have done and for the presentation. It's less a question, maybe more an observation. I would wonder how such a discussion would look like in the United States. I mean, you had one of your slides was who are the actual offerers of AI tools? And I've just seen US companies and one Canadian company. So I think the earlier we understand that AI has come to stay and the individual advisors understand how to include it into their daily work, the better you can use it in order to improve your work and to spend more quality time with the clients and to give some things that you don't need to do personally to the AI and to then consider on the personal advice. Because I think this is still, especially in private banking services, but maybe also for retail clients, a way on how you can differentiate to your competitors and where you can still have an argument why we need you. Yeah? And there was also another question that you have asked was about whether regulation or should come first or innovation. And in my point of view, it should always be innovation to come first. Because otherwise regulation is hindering you from all the possibilities that there are. Of course, it should come not very much later. Yeah? Where we have seen with a lot of regulations where it was not good that it came first and then the market needed to adapt. But yeah, thank you very much.
Thanks for the comments. That's pretty the same what Josef Soler mentioned here. It was the Marcus part of the table, and you asked there the question for discussion if the Europe should develop some own ecosystem or use these US companies. And in the morning part, that was pretty the same. If the client invests via the banks or mutual fund, they invest into the defense sector, but it is the US defense factory. So that's pretty the same. Okay, Alexander was the next one.
Hello, Alexandre Touma. I have just one small question. Are you all afraid that by using the IA, you'll always have behavioral trends and preventing yourself to propose like contrarian investment solution to your client that might be thought as risky by the AI and thus not doing clearly your job?
I agree. That's why we said in our presentation that AI is part of our job, we don't not only rely on what it says to us, but also we have to analyze the answer, the outcome, and then it's important for us to think about other possibilities and then think maybe about merging them as one, something like that. And I would like to add something to the previous remarks about United States. I think also if we have this conversation with younger generation, for example, college students now in economics, finance, or banking, I think it should be different as well, because I think they rely on AI much more than we are, because we remember the analog years, so we are still skeptical about all the tech solutions. I don't think that the younger generation will be the same.
Okay, thanks. Clemens, up to you.
Yep. Clemens Spongenberg, I'm chair of the ethical committee of EFPA Europe. Thank you for your great work, and I was really enthusiastic about how you implement also the ethical implications of AI for the financial advisor. And perhaps more a question to think about, and I would like to have your advice, not perhaps this afternoon, but in the coming weeks. Should we adapt our ethical code of EFPA? Or we had a discussion in the ethical committee already of is already all in it. So perhaps a first reaction, and otherwise I'd like to have your advice for in the coming weeks if we too should adapt this ethical code. Thank you.
Before you answer, as Marta said right now, quite good question. And I have to answer a quite difficult question. Difficult answer, yeah, sorry. So any idea, Vanessa, how to adapt the ethical
Sorry, I'm not familiar enough with the EFPA ethical code. However, I work in the Chartered Insurance Institute where we do have a code of ethics, which is principles based. And I'm also responsible for developing the competency framework that translates principles into behaviors and decision-making practices. I'm more than happy to share that with you and talk you through offline, because we've recently done an update ensuring that ethical principles translate into ethical AI practice as well. So it's quite a detailed framework, and I can talk you through that in a meeting whenever. Yeah, thank you. Now that I've got this,
okay.
I just wanted to mention something around what you mentioned in terms of, you had a question whether AI literacy should be integrated within financial planning certifications. I would say a big yes, but I would say also that it needs to be ongoing. It can't just be part of a qualification which is done and dusted. It needs to be ongoing. And that is also AI literacy is probably the new corporate literacy. We've seen historically whenever there's been a big technological advance like social media or the internet, then we started talking about digital literacy and media literacy. And now this is kind of part of like the normality. So AI literacy will surely become kind of the new normal, and it won't be something that we talk about separately from all the other literacies that have appeared over time. And then linked to AI literacy is also the this thing that we've been talking about in terms of the human in the loop, the human oversight, the capacity for the advisor to analyze critically the outputs of AI tools. I think in this context, technical expertise is more important than ever, because you really need to understand and have that really, really strong technical expertise to be able to assess whether an output is sound or not. So I think technical expertise is also something that really needs to be focused on a lot.
Okay, maybe my final question to all of you. I make some notes. For what situation you prefer, for what issue you prefer to use the AI in a financial advisory business? Can we say in a general, use AI, yes or no? Or do you see there some really specific situation or typical situation or issues where it helps?
So at the moment, it is mainly the transcription and summary of calls, but also it is so some clients ask me questions, and I also type them into the AI without any personal data, but I ask ChatGPT the same question, and then I can verify if it's a good answer or not, but also the first thinking about the client, or also for like improving myself for some situations, or to like what I was thinking this morning was also about how can I improve to be a good advisor, and thinking about this financial health thing. And I could also ask the AI and say, okay, I want to speak more on my calls about financial health. Can we do a simulation of a situation, and then we simulate a call? So also for this training and improving, it could be a good way to use AI. Marketing, we use it for marketing a lot. But you asked for what would I prefer? I would prefer to get the data from clients in a good way with high data quality, maybe even through some FIDA acts, so I can get good data from all banks and insurance companies and automatically have them into my financial planning software, and don't need so much time for preparing the financial plans, but have more time, as it was said from there, to spend quality time with the clients and not preparing. So I could serve more clients and could serve them even better.
So
yeah, so that would
data input for preparing the financial plan. Okay, Arthur?
Well, for me, as a worker of a corporate bank, the most important thing is helping me with some day-to-day tasks that are frustrating me every day because they don't give nothing to my relation with the clients. So this is, I think, the biggest thing for me, just to get some extra time for just the client and the meeting with him, and just to know his issues. So this is the most important thing for me.
Okay.
I think it's impossible not to use it at all.
It is, yeah.
But I'm not thinking about putting something in ChatGPT or Copilot or Grok, because even if we don't use it directly, the companies that we use, for example, the websites, use it for sure. So indirectly, we're using AI, that's for sure. I think the most important thing now is to challenge the answers of the AI that we are having. Yeah, you can't get lazy. You need to challenge it. You need to look if it's really the only answer that you can have. And I think that answering directly your question, monitoring the portfolio is easier with AI, but not, for example, John Smith's portfolio, because there's a lot of ethical issues there. No, the particular instruments, it's easier with AI to monitor the portfolio.
Okay. Thomas?
Today it would be for the routine tasks that has already been said, but today we only use ChatGPT or Grok, and they are general tools. They're not financial. They're not created for financial advisors. Today we don't have those specific tools, so we can use it. We can use those tools to write codes or things like that. But it's just a chat box. And in the end, you write your question right or wrong, and it gives you an answer. And I think the next step will be to have AI tools created for the financial advisors, workers.
Okay, great. Thank you, guys. Thank you very much. Thank you, Vanessa, Marcus, Arthur, Pavel, and Thomas. Thank all of you, the think tank members, and thanks you for the comments. And now it's a short coffee break, so you can use the tea or coffee outside, and we'll continue in 15 minutes.